Hello everyone, so this video is going to show us how to do 9-3 in Applia, which is performing other cash payments and journal operations. This will include the petty cash report that we need to file. So here's the first instructions. The cash payment journals and petty cash report for Keller Lighting are given. The first two things we're going to do is rule page 5 of the cash payments journal using March 27th of the current year, and then begin page 6 of the cash payments journal. So basically what this looks like is we have our cash payments journal page 5. We have to end this page before we can go on to page 6. So if we take a look at our PowerPoint instructions on 9-3, it kind of shows us in here what we're going to be doing. We put the date that they give us. We write the word carried forward. We put a check mark in the post reference because this shows that these totals here are not finished because we're at the end of one page and going to be going to the next page. So a check mark here in post reference shows that these will not be posted. And then we total each of the columns going down. So we get a total here. We single rule it here to show we're going to add, and then we double rule it to show that we've added everything. Then on the next page, which in this case would be page 22, we write the same date, and we write the word brought forward. Again, we write the check mark here to show that these will not be posted, and we just simply copy the amounts from the previous page that we had totaled up before. And that's all we do to carry these down to the new page. So here's our work together in Applia. Again, we're going to use the date of the 27th. We're going to write the word carried forward. We're going to put the little V here to show we are not going to post this, and here are the totals. They've already added them up for us. Then we go down to the next page. We write the same date, so March 27th. We write the word brought forward. We put the V in the post reference again, and then we simply just copy these numbers in our bottom row here, our totals, down to the next, or to this line. So 18,486.85, 458.56, 16,483.50, 251.34, and 34,260.45. And again, just double check your work to make sure you didn't transpose a number or make a mistake carrying these numbers down, because then it will mess up when you add them again at the end of this. So now we're on to instruction 3. Kevin Tomlinson is the custodian of a $200 petty cash account. On March 31st, he had receipts for the following cash payment, or total payments: supplies-office $45.23, supplies-store $66.18, and miscellaneous for $49.25. A cash count shows that he has $40.59 in the petty cash drawer. Now we have to prepare this petty cash report. So we're using these numbers right here in the instructions to do our petty cash report. So again, we start here with the date, which they gave us as March 31st. And the custodian is the gentleman's name that they gave us, Kevin. And we started with a $200 petty cash fund. The amounts that they gave us, again, for supplies-office was $45.23. Supplies-store $66.18. And our miscellaneous was $49.25. We have to add these three items together to find out what our total payments were. And when we do that addition, we get $160.66. You see this little arrow here, so we also put that same number, 160.66 there. The recorded amount on hand, they gave us this amount of $39.34. No, I'm sorry, they did not give us that amount. That the recorded amount on hand is what we have to figure out by taking this $200 and subtracting the 160.66. So when we take 200 minus 160.66, we get 39.34. This is the amount right here, less, so we're going to subtract the actual amount on hand. So this was the number, the actual amount on hand right here, a cash count of $40.59, that amount they gave us in the instructions. So that amount goes right here, $40.59. So when it says less, that means we have to subtract. Well, you know that when we're going to take 39.34 and we're going to subtract 40.59, we're going to end up with a negative number. So over here, cash short would be a positive number, and cash over is going to be a negative number. Because if you take a look at here, what we should have on hand is $39.34, and what we really have on hand is $40.59. So we have more than we should have. So when it's an over, it's going to be in parentheses. And that amount comes to parenthesis 1.25. And then this arrow indicates that we put that same number right here. So now we have a positive number of $160.66, and parentheses means negative, so that means we have to subtract. So we take 160.66, subtract the 125, and we end up with 159.41. Now the only difference here is if you would have ended up with a recorded amount that was larger than your actual amount, you would end up here with a cash short. And then the cash short would be here, and you would, instead of subtracting, you would add that back on to this. So if this is in parentheses, you're going to subtract. If it's not in parentheses, you're going to add. Because this is the amount that we have to write the check for to replenish our petty cash. So again, this parenthesis means subtract. If there's no parenthesis here, it means we're short, and we have to add that shortness back on to get back to our original amount of $200. So this is what our petty cash report looks like, and now in our instructions we have to journalize it. So here's our instructions for number 4. Record the replenishment of the fund on March 31st, check number 536. So we're going to journalize that. Again, it gave us the date of the 31st. We write our 3 accounts right here that we just used. So supplies dash office, supplies dash store, and miscellaneous expense. And then the 4th account title is always cash short and over. Alright, the number that they gave us, we said, was 536. And then we start recording our amounts. So these 3 things that we used in our petty cash are all going to be recorded as a general debit. So we just take these amounts that are in our petty cash report and put them in the general debit column. So we have 45.23, 66.18, and miscellaneous 49.25. Okay, right here again we have a cash over of $1.25. So when cash is over, it's going to be recorded as a credit. So 1.25 is going in the credit column. If this was going to be a cash short, short is recorded here as a debit. Alright, and now we have to take the 159.41, and this is our cash credit that we're writing the check to replenish. So 159.41 is recorded in the cash credit. And again, to double check yourself, add up your 2 credits and make sure they equal your 3 debits, because the debits and credits still have to equal. Alright, the last instruction, total, prove, and rule the cash payments journal. So all we have to do is put the last day of the month, which is the 31st. We write the word totals. And we just start adding these three, or all the numbers going down the row. So starting right at the top, you add them all up to get your totals. So this column is going to be 18,647.51. This one we only have two to add, a little easier, 459.81. These are really easy, nothing to add, so just bring them down, 16,483.50. 251.34. And the final one, 419.86. And again, just simple math, make sure that you're checking your numbers. And then down here we're going to prove that the debits equal the credits. So we're just proving that our debits totals equal our credits. So we're just taking the number and plugging it in the right spot. So we have a general debit and credit. Right here our general debit is 18,647.51. Our general credit 459.81. We have accounts payable debit of 16,483.50. Purchases discount credit 251.34. And finally, our cash credit 34,419.86. And we're just going to add our debits and add our credits, and they should equal, and they do. So their total is 131.01. Same thing over here, 35,131.01. So we know our debits and credits equal. That means that we have proved and ruled our total columns. If you forget again how to do the petty cash report in the PowerPoint, again it goes through step by step the instructions of where these numbers all came from. Again, in this example here that they give us, our recorded amount on hand was $35.44, and the actual amount when they counted was $33.85. So we should have had $35.44, but we actually had $33.85. So we were short this time of $1.59. So in this example, again, when we're short, we have to add that back on. So we had $214.56 in monies that we spent. We have to add the amount that we were short to get the number to replenish the cash. And again, when you're looking here, in this example, they gave us the over example. So when we're over, we have recorded that we should have 39.17, but when we counted, we have 41.34, so that we were over. When it's over, it's in parentheses, and when it's in parentheses here, we take the total payments and we subtract the amount we're over to get the amount to replenish. Okay, so again, right here it tells us when cash is short, we record as a debit. When cash is over, we record as a credit. That's going to be a big help for you to remember where you're going to put that amount right here. So in this case, cash is over, it's a credit. If it was under, it would be short, it would be a debit.